Hi, my name's Dan, and I am selling this AVR 145 AV receiver on eBay. I thought it would be cool to have a video available. You know, I see a lot of videos on YouTube, so I'm going to put this on YouTube, and I'll have a link on my listing down on the bottom. And I don't know if people will take the time to watch it, but I thought it'd be cool to give an overview of this particular unit. So the AVR 145 is an AV receiver, okay, and it puts out 40 watts of high current amplification. And also, if you know anything about Harmon Kardon, they use what's called discrete technology in their electronics. So instead of having everything like on an IC board where it's just like the really cheapest components, they have the nice quality, high-end military style resistors and that kind of thing that they put into their design. And that's where the quality comes in. So if you ever talk to somebody that's into hi-fi, they will tell you that the Harmon Kardons are high-end in reference especially to the quality of the componentry that's put in them. And some people will actually, they'll use sometimes if they're like really into super expensive equipment, they'll use the Harmon Kardon as their preamplifier, and then they'll use the preamp outputs to hook up to like a 200 watt per channel super expensive amplifier or whatever. But that's because the quality that goes into the preamp and all the electronics in the Harmon Kardon is very good. Now that's not to say that the amplifiers that are built in here aren't good. They actually are very good. And one of the things I like to talk about is high current design and amplification is actually much more important than wattage. So when you hear wattage, sometimes some people say, oh, well, that's not very much wattage, 40 watts per channel. And it actually is in this case because we're talking about a high current design. So what that means is that when you have a loud bass note, or you have a loud passage in a movie soundtrack, for example, you have special effects and that kind of thing where there's explosions. This unit is going to be able to respond to those very well because it has the high current capability built right into it. So you can't beat that with the Harmon Kardon design. That's what they're known for, and they just put their money into that part of the engineering instead of just building an amplifier that has like so many watts and just saying, oh yeah, it has 100 watts a channel, but hey, if it's not high current, it doesn't really matter. It's going to sound kind of the same all the time. And so that's the difference between like a cheaper amplifier and a more expensive amplifier is it high current or not? If it's high current, it's going to be a higher quality sound. You know, years ago in the car audio industry, with the competition stereos, they used to have like there's like an amplifier, an Orion amplifier that put out like 25 watts a channel RMS, but it was a high current design, and it could go all the way down to 1 ohm and ran stable in 1 ohm. And when you ran that 25 watts into 1 ohm, see, 25 watts into 2 ohms is 50 watts a channel. You got like 100 watts per channel at 1 ohm. And it was able to do it, and it was able to do it cleanly. And so you could take like a little 25/2 amplifier and use that. That was what they called their HCCA model. Basically it was their competition level, super high current design. So that's kind of what's going on here with the AVR 145. It's a high current design amplifier. And what that means in layman's terms is, hey, when you need that power, when that comes out in the music as you're playing it, you're going to hear it because the engineering in the high current design is built in here. And you have the tone controls just like you do in everything else, but I usually listen to everything on flat. I do like to hook up a subwoofer, and so that's another point with power. You know, the bass, the low frequencies, that's where most of your wattage goes to. So if you have a separate powered subwoofer like I do here, it's even less of a factor as far as the amount of watts that are being output on the other channels, because the low frequencies are the ones that use all the power anyway. And if you got a subwoofer that's handling that for you, hey, you don't need like 250 watts a channel. You can have a pretty nice sounding system, especially if it's a high current design. So what I'm going to do right now is do a little audio demo. I know we're on a video, so you're not going to hear the same thing, but we're going to play a little clip here just to let you know that, hey, everything's working. And I think I'll play a different track because that's probably not the greatest, so I'll do track 7. The other thing, some of these Harmon Kardons have issues with the volume control not working properly in the manual mode. If you ever buy one that's broken and it doesn't work right on this mode, you can always use the remote because the remote works fine. But this particular unit is working 100%. Now, I'll be honest with you, the reason I bought this unit was I was originally going to take this apart and take this volume control out of this unit and install it in this unit, because when I bought this unit here, I initially had a problem with the volume control not operating properly. And while I was waiting for this to arrive, this AVR 145 to arrive, I took this volume control knob off on this unit, and I blew out the area with an air compressor and a little WD-40 around the spindle that changes the volume, and I was able to get that to restore back to normal operation. And I had to do it a number of times because I did it the first time I did it, the next day I came back out, it wasn't working right. And so I go, okay, good thing I ordered this one, and I'll just swap the volume control out because they're basically the same on the inside between the two units. The only difference is this has like a black outside on the ring, but I could have just pulled this off and swapped it and kept everything the same. But anyway, it was the whole unit I was going to use. So I bought this thinking that I would just do it for that. But in the end, this is working 100%, and I got this, and it's in fantastic shape. But I don't have a need for this particular unit. This was already my third system in the house, if I don't count my wife's in her office. We actually have 4 systems in the house, and so I don't really need this. Don't have a need for it. But this is the side panel to show the integrity of the side panel, and I'm just kind of walking around it right now. You can see how beautiful that front panel glass display is. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but originally this had a plastic sticker type protective covering that the amplifier ships with, brand new from the factory. That was still on this unit. I just took it off this morning. So this is like brand spanking new. It's got some dust on it. I apologize for that. It's a little dusty here in my shop. The only thing I can tell you about the unit that somebody might be concerned about, I'm going to give this unit a 9 out of 10 rating, and I'm going to show you why. Up here on top, the K from the Harmon Kardon, those 2 parts of the K, somehow they were removed. I purchased this unit used on eBay, and you know, that was the only thing wrong with it. I'm not going to show the back panel on the video just because I have everything hooked up right now, but I will probably disconnect everything and include some still images of the back for the listing. Again, this is the AVR 145 amplifier, 40 watts per channel RMS, high current design with discrete technology, and it really just sounds fantastic. I'm going to turn the volume up just a little bit for a second. I mean, that instrumentation, I don't know if you can hear that, but it's just fantastic. You're listening to this on EV monitors. Those monitors are non-powered, so they're basically like regular speakers. But they got very, very high quality crossover, professional crossovers in them. And of course, I've got this little powered subwoofer that just adds a little bit in the bass, and you probably can't get that on the video. But that's it for the AVR 145.